Sorry, I pushed start. What's good, everybody? We're live. Touchdowns and tangents. Throwback edition. Me pushing start for no reason, without warning.
Like or no warning whatsoever.
Or without an intro song.
I was gonna at least go take a piss first. Wow, man.
My bad.
Are you okay, bro?
No, I'm actually really tired. I've gotten a full 12 hours of sleep this week. For the week, the entire week.
And you have itis from shout out to Orleans and York.
Shout out to Orleans in Orleans and York.
Yeah,
Orleans and York.
And shout out to Serve. Serve's also here with us.
On
Pete,
time for once.
Kenny.
indeed.
Good News Sports. Shout out to FBC Radio. Shout out to X Squad affiliates. Shout out to you for listening to this weekly broadcast of NFL takes and topical tangents for the culture. Without further ado, Kenny, what do we got coming up?
Well, we have the tailgate November 23rd, USC UCLA. So get prepared. Buddy up with other people you know who have season passes. Provide a lot of liquor. And get ready to hear a bunch of sports talk and the epitome of what this podcast is about. And get drunk and talk with your friends. And then go watch USC pummel UCLA. That's just one of the things we have coming up. And the Halloween show next week.
Which is going to be a pre-record? Or
I mean, I'm not
trying to hand out candy?
Does it look
We
like...
should just hand out candy and talk shit to kids.
That would be hilarious.
On the air. On the air.
We have to
as
get
a
kids
podcast.
to come here. Like that. I don't know how that will work.
Yeah, especially with the... never mind. The power line problem. We'll just put it like that. The power line problem. If you know, you know.
Wow.
And this mouse is completely dead, so I can't even stop the music.
And the connection for the Wi-Fi looks like it keeps going in and out. So that's horrifying. So if this gets broken up into 5 parts for an episode, you'll find out why. But I just want to start off. We don't really do it. How's everybody's week, man?
My week is good.
Mine's been well.
You're clearly sleep deprived, Pete. Sir,
I'm just not used to... we're really going retro. This is how we used to start the podcast when we was in the room, cutting on the phone. Literally, me and Kenny would just be talking for 2 hours, and then at some point, I would just hit record.
literally, it would
be like, all right, dog, we gotta stop fucking around. Let's record this shit so we can play Madden.
yeah. And then I'd be like, damn, I'm gonna get home at 3 a.m. I don't care. I gotta be back out here in the valley at 6 a.m. anyway. One day we're just gonna literally do an oral history or a skit on how this podcast started and came together. All the wacky things that happened for this to even be a thing. But anyway.
We're starting off hot tonight.
We totally are. I think it's because, seriously, Orleans and York is dope. They really gave me, a bunch of, fried chicken wings and then threw in some salmon. I was like, okay. I wasn't really expecting this, and this is, the worst thing I've eaten all week because I'm on a diet and back in the gym.
My diet hasn't been going well.
I mean, there's a reason why the word dies in the word diet. That's all I'm going to say. Because you're slowly killing yourself inside.
Yeah, man, life's too short. Life's too short to not have high cholesterol. Is that the title of the podcast?
That's definitely a podcast. I know because I agree with that 120%.
Sarah just co-signed it.
Life's too short not to have a high drug tolerance.
Yeah, my roommate's been harping on me lately because all I do is been putting butter and salt. Well, butter mainly on everything, but butter is bomb as fuck.
Butter or margarine?
Butter. Not no country rock,
crock?
no.
Country crock of bullshit?
Was it country crock?
We called it country crock of bullshit.
Yeah.
When I was younger.
This podcast...
But, oh man.
It's like butter on the popcorn of life.
Ew.
That's gross.
Kettle popcorn.
I don't know what you got. What you got really
kettle
better?
popcorn
What you
because
got?
earlier Pete want to sit here and say
That's how I know.
Pete
That's how I know you.
popcorn.
I'm the gentrifier, but she hates butter. Okay.
You kind of.
Yeah.
You're an IE gentrifier, Pete.
That's karma for switching out the butter with coconut oil or whatever the fuck you use.
You realize
Sesame seed oil on your popcorn.
Pete said
Your popcorn with sesame seed oil.
Wow.
Grapeseed oil.
I worked in movie theaters.
It's an antioxidant.
Wow. I worked in movie
Give
theaters.
me butter on my shit.
butter.
Okay, we all can agree that we like blockage and clogged arteries.
Yes.
But Pete had an interesting take on how Inglewood isn't the South Bay, but it's always been considered the South Bay, as well as Carson. But it isn't. But it is, like Delamo. But it is. But it isn't, like Compton. But it is. But it really isn't. Like
Compton is not the South Bay.
Compton is L.A.
Compton is LA.
How is like something's LA but something's not the South Bay when they're right next to each other? Like
I don't
Long
know
Beach
why.
isn't considered the South Bay, but
Compton
it is.
is considered L.A.
Well, Hyde Park is considered the West Side,
for sure.
and that's like basically
Anything down Crenshaw should still be considered LA. Once you get to like Western,
south of the
Wilshire.
90 is
once you get to
I mean-
South
Wilshire
Bay.
and Crenshaw, that's when it turns.
I mean, but where we were in Hawthorne, that's considered South Bay, and that's Crenshaw. And
Damn, so
SpaceX
she's saying I live in Crenshaw.
and
live in LA.
SpaceX is on Crenshaw, and that's like the nice area.
But once you get on the other side of the 105,
that area is not
it's
that
Inglewood
nice.
now.
That area
As soon
is
as
not
you get
that
to, I
nice.
It
agree.
really
As soon
is
as
like
you get to
SpaceX.
Imperial, that's
It's
a
just
different
like
story.
SpaceX, like, and a nice Target.
As soon as-
And
as
long
soon
ass
as you
strip
get
down
to
the side of the
Imperial,
airport.
Everything else is like whatever.
I've seen
Yeah.
some things at Imperial
I've ridden the
and
bus
Crenshaw
down
over there.
Crenshaw.
Bro, if I had SpaceX money, I'm living in Torrance or Redondo.
North Torrance.
I'm not living.
No.
I'm not
You're
living
not
right
even,
there, bro.
I'll be in
I'm not-
Palos Verdes
You're
or
not teaching.
something.
Yeah.
That's what the people
You
with the
talking
money
about being
money.
you talking about being a manager now. I'm
Yeah.
talking about just being an employee.
No. If I'm with them, I'm gonna have money.
Yeah, do you really want to live in like gentrified Lindale Hawthorne?
When you could just live in the full on rich area.
Just go straight to North Torrance.
Just move up.
I would just live in North. I would just actually no, because I would want to be away from the plant because it causes so much
Like,
cancer.
don't pretend you live in a nice neighborhood just because you got a vegan Earth Cafe on the corner. Like, it still is what it is.
If I'm close enough to Hawthorne Boulevard and an adjacent cross street to get to where you stay at, you don't live in that nice of a neighborhood. Especially if you
Actually, like-
you live in between Delamo and like 190th.
Nah, but between Hawthorne and the 405 is kind of nice.
It's always going to be nice because it's Hawthorne.
It's the 405.
Yeah, and it cuts through Hawthorne like 5 different
The
times.
405 is always going to be nice, no matter what.
Even the other side of
Nah, but
Hawthorne that
some
we don't
parts of
talk
the
about.
405 are hood though too.
We know that. But
Like,
name them.
yeah, tell me.
Like
Yeah, tell someone.
half, like every other underpass, like every underpass that's not a main street.
That's like saying water's wet.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
I feel like you have more distinct locations in mind that you don't want to say.
No, you just trying to get me packed out of the South Bay.
You're doing a good job of that yourself already. I'm just saying.
Anyway, so let's talk about content. First thing, let's talk about it. What are we talking about, Kenny? XFL, once again.
The championship, it's been announced in their partnerships with ABC, Disney, Fox. The championship is April 26th of next year, 2020.
They're legit, they're legit trying to like David the Goliath.
And Oliver Luck is a brilliant mind. So he's no spring chicken. He's run other leagues before, so it should be interesting.
Essentially, what they're saying is that people would rather watch football than watch football adjacent content.
Because
They're-
I'm damn
they're-
sure not watching wrestling.
They're coming straight for all. They're coming straight for the NFL draft. Like,
Literally.
essentially, they're just like, you know what? Like, like we're like, I don't know. It's just weird.
It's brilliant because it's like, okay, whoever doesn't get drafted might end up in the XFL.
It's brilliant because it's a trigger.
Mr. Irrelevant might become the number 1 overall pick in the XFL draft.
It's just going to be a day that people are thinking about football, but they're not going to have football to watch except for the XFL.
It's like,
you get what I'm saying?
It's like people selling umbrellas outside of cemeteries when it's raining.
Something like that, yeah.
That shit is genius.
Yeah, it's just
somewhat questionable, somewhat ethical, or not, but genius.
It's more of just using somebody else's, I wouldn't say clout because they're not directly doing it, but somebody else's buzz. Something else that's being talked about, like
showing up to somebody else's party and promoting your own party down the street.
And you still have space and beer and your pool is cleaner.
When they've been drinking your beer.
You have a slide.
We've been drinking their beer, talking to all the females. Like, hey, you know,
it's like at 1:35 and there's like 3 beers left in the cooler, and someone's like, "Hey, let's go to my house. I got a pool and 330 racks."
It's like after when people are already tired of not getting on the beer pong table because there's not enough beer pong tables in somebody else's house, and it's like around 12:30, 12:45. You still got to push to make one more party. And everybody just goes, hey, you know what, bro? I'm going to go down the street. They got some other shit popping. And then the people who are there are just there. We
literally just said the same thing. You just went into more detail.
I was thinking of a totally different party in my head. And if I say anything else, I'll incriminate myself. So I'll be quiet.
All right. But yeah, so the XFL is actually becoming real. It's funny because we've been talking about it this on and off for about 2 years. And even though players aren't going to get paid the same amount and the talent isn't going to be the same, they definitely are taking some risks. And I think that's the biggest thing with these startup leagues is you got to take risks. Like, you got to try different things. That's one thing that the AAF really did well. They played with the rules, and the NFL's borrowed from that.
And it's brilliant for the simple fact that they had guys like Ronald Ollie there. I think, not Bo Scarborough. Some former Alabama running back.
Trent Richardson.
Yeah. They had like a bunch of known names. Landry
that
Jones.
Dude at Orleans was probably a nose tackle for the LA, what are they called? Forgot what. Wildcats.
You talking about Ronald Ollie?
No, I'm talking about the dude who was at Orleans. Bone Crusher.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Donald Penn's nephew?
Yeah, Donald Penn's nephew.
That's for real. He looked like every JUCO football player I know. I got a homie who looked just like him. I had to take a double check. I was like, do I know you? Because he looked over at me. I was like, I think I know this dude. I think I know every, like, black.
He probably squats like 5 plates.
He definitely, yeah. Probably
but like 83 degrees only. But you know, he probably still squats like 4 plates, legit.
A legit 475.
Yeah, but it's like,
but with perfect technique, he can get to 500.
He's just getting the 80 degrees on some clout.
He muscled up 500 up. He muscled 5 plates up, and it hurt his back.
And you can't really say anything because you ain't doing 5 plates. So yeah.
You're
just like, fuck it.
You can probably hit a solid. Degrees. Yeah, you can probably hit a solid 4, but you're not.
I'll round up for you, dog.
Yeah, at that point.
All right, next thing, we got to make a shout out on a lighter note, send some condolences, some prayers.
R.I.P. to the great, possibly the greatest DB in the history of the Oakland Raiders.
Which actually has a great lineage of DBs.
And probably one of the, apparently he didn't even play defense in college. He played something else. But the greatest number 24 of all time, arguably. That includes Marshawn Lynch.
I think he's been one of the alumni who's always been around the team. I think he coached at one point.
He did.
So
Willie Brown, old man Willie Brown.
He's just always been a part of the Oakland Raiders culture, specifically the Oakland Raiders culture, and just always been a part of the Raiders family, and just that whole mystique. He's a part of it, not just from when he played and was the foundation of it, but all the way through, he's been stewarding everyone else as well.
And then at the